Last Thursday night on April 4th, there was an event in the Wyckoff section of the library called the Armstrong Lecture. Based on the description, this lecture discussed the protests that happened in Japan in the 60s. We went there for more details.
In the Wyckoff section of the library, there was an event called the Armstrong Lecture. Here we learn about the purpose and severity of the protests that happened in Japan. The speaker for the event has more to say.
About 1/3 of the Japanese people, which was about 30 million people, took part in some kind of protest activity, marching or petitions, and they were protesting against the U.S.-Japan Security Treaty.
The treaty of which he speaks of deals with U.S. military coming to Japanese soil, which its citizens were not very fond of. Evidently, this protest did not work out considering Japan is an ally of the U.S. and we have troops stationed there. However, it begs the question what they succeeded in from these protests.
They were able to oust a very unpopular conservative prime minister named Kishi Nobusuke, and they forced the cancellation of a visit to Japan by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. And these protests, because they involved so many people, even though they sort of failed to stop the treaty, they did lead to a lot of changes in Japanese society and politics and U.S.-Japan relations that are still with us to this day.
While Nick Kappur discusses why this is an important part of history, with Japan being as powerful as it is today, and its cultural influences, such as anime and manga, we should consider why people should know more about these events today.
We can't really understand the Japanese society of today that produces these art forms and has this economic power without understanding these huge protests in 1960, which in many ways were a seminal moment for creating the type of Japan that exists today.
If you're interested in events that are just like this, contact L. Swanson at fsmail.bradley.edu. For BUTV News, I'm Joshua Blake.